So let me write here 12x divided by 3x. So we'll be able to cancel out the x. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So don't forget to get that operation plus, and this one, the quotient of 12x by 3x, and the answer is 4. So this would now be our factored form of 3x squared plus 12x. Visually, you can imagine in your mind that 3x squared plus 12x is this big rectangle with this one as the 3x squared and the green ones are the 12x. And then the factors 3x times the quantity x plus 4 are the length and the width. You have 3x here and you have x plus 4 here. In the next example, let's do this without the use now of the manipulatives, because our goal is to eventually do away with using those concrete objects so that you can advance to the abstract level. So the process is get the greatest common factor of 16 and 12. So 16 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Whereas 12 is equal to 2 times 2 times 3. Now get the GCF. The greatest common factors are 2 and 2, which is equal to 4. So therefore, we now say that the GCF of 16 and 12 is 4. So let's write here the 4. Then you have x squared and x. X squared is x times x, and x is 1x. Then the greatest common factor would be x. So your greatest common factor now, therefore, is 4x. The next step is to divide each term of the given expression by the greatest common factor, 4x. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. X squared divided by x is x. Don't forget to copy the operation, minus. Then 12 divided by 4 is 3. X divided by x would be 1, so you don't have to write them anymore. Our final answer now is the factors of 16x squared minus 12x are 4x and 4x minus 3. This is now the factored form of 16x squared minus 12x. What's the point of doing this? This lesson has important implications when you are doing actual problem solving in the real world, because you might be encountering situations when you become engineers that you are planning your building. You are given your particular area and you are asked to find what are the possible combinations for the length and the width so that you can maximize the space. So maximizing the space would be another problem on optimization, but we are preparing you for those other applications of mathematics. So this has real applications in the actual world. But for now, this might look so abstract, impractical, but we cannot build this modern society without all this mathematical knowledge. Okay, let's go to the next problem. Factor 12x to the fifth minus 18x cubed minus 3x squared. So the first step is to find the greatest common factors of 12, 18, and 3. 12 is equal to 2 times 2 times 3. 18 is 2 times 3 times 3. And 3 is equal to 3. Now, what is the greatest common factor of all these three numbers, 12, 18, and 3? Clearly, there's only one factor that's common to all of them, and that is the 3. So we now therefore say that the greatest common factors of the numerical coefficient is 3. Then, go to the variables x to the fifth, x to the third, and x to the second. We will expand x to the fifth as 5x's multiplied together. X cubed is 3x's, and x squared 2x's. And the common factors would be these 2x's. So you have x times x equals x squared as the common factor. Now at this point, I want you to observe, when you are given x to the fifth, x to the third, x to the second, you don't have to expand them anymore. If you can see the pattern. The pattern is just get the variable with the least exponent, because in order for that variable to be common to everyone, that's the maximum that can be common to all of them. Because if you only have x squared, then there's only 2x's here. Beyond that, there is nothing more that is common to the other factors. So just get that variable with the least exponent. So our common monomial factor is 3x squared. And then we go to the next step, which is dividing each term of the given expression by the common monomial factor. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. X to the 5th divided by x squared is equal to x to the 3rd. Don't forget to copy the minus sign. 18 divided by 3 is 6. X cubed divided by x squared is x. Again, you just subtract 3 minus 2 to get an exponent 1. When the exponent is 1, we do not have to write that 1 anymore. It's already understood. Then copy the minus sign. 3 divided by 3 is 1. X squared divided by x squared is 1. And 1 times 1 is 1. So these are now the factors of the given expression 12x to the 5th minus 18x cubed minus 3x squared. Mentally, you can think of this top expression as the rectangle. And you can think of this 3x squared as the width and 4x cubed minus 6x minus 1 as the length. But the length and the width can be interchanged because of the commutative property of multiplication. Okay, let's have some more examples. Okay, let's factor 22x to the 5th y to the 7th minus 14x cubed y to the 8th plus 18x to the 6th y to the 4th. First, let's look for the common factors. 22 is 2 times 11. 14 is 2 times 7. And 18 is 2 times 3 times 3. The greatest common factor is 2. So let's write 2 here. Now, let's go to the variables. You have x to the 5th, y to the 7th, x to the 3rd, y to the 8th, and x to the 6th, y to the 4th. As we have already noticed in the previous example, all you have to do is get the least exponent if you have common variable. So for the common variable x, you have x to the 5th, x to the 3rd, x to the 6th. The least exponent among the three is x cubed. So for our GCF, get that x cubed. For the variable y, you have y to the 7th, y to the 8th, y to the 4th. The least exponent is 4. So we have y to the 4th. So our GCF now is x cubed times y to the 4th. That is the number that we are going to write here. X cubed y to the 4th. Then the next step is to divide. 22 divided by 2 is 11. X to the 5th divided by x cubed, you have to subtract the exponent. We have x squared. Y to the 7th divided by y to the 4th, again just subtract the exponent. We get y to the 3rd. That takes care of the first term. Copy the minus sign. Go to the next term. A term is separated by the plus or the minus sign. So for this term, the boundary is this minus sign and that plus sign. So 14x cubed y to the 8th is one term. So 14 divided by 2 is 7. X cubed divided by x cubed is 1. So it's cancelled out. Y to the 8th divided by y to the 4th is y to the 4th. You have to subtract 8 minus 4 to get the 4. Then copy the plus sign. 18 divided by 2 is 9. X to the 6th divided by x to the 3rd. You subtract the exponent to get x to the 3rd. And then y to the 4th divided by y to the 4th is 1. So you can cancel out y to the 4th. Our final answer now is the factors of 22 x to the 5th y to the 7th minus 14x cubed y to the 8th plus 18x to the 6th y to the 4th are 2x cubed y to the 4th times the trinomial 11x squared y cubed minus 7y to the 4th plus 9x cubed. How do we interpret this problem? You can think of this expression at the top as your rectangle, and you can think of this 2x cubed y to the 4th as the length of that rectangle, and you can think of this trinomial as the other length. Okay, you can pause the video for a moment and write in your journal whatever learning you have as of now. Okay, let's have one more example. Factor x to the 5th, 7x to the 4th y cubed minus 8x y to the 4th plus 14x y. So how many terms are there? This one term, this another term, another term, another term. The plus or the minus signs are the boundaries of the term. So let's get the common factors. Notice that there is no numerical coefficient for x to the 5th. That means we don't have to get the common factors of the numerical coefficient because there's nothing that can be common with x to the 5th. That makes our work easier. So we just take care of those that are common. You have x to the fifth here, so just look for the x variable. Which variable has the least exponent? You have x to the fifth, x to the fourth, x, and x. So clearly x is the one with the least exponent, so that's our common factor. There's no variable y here, so we don't have to worry about the y. X is the only common factor. And then let's divide. X to the fifth divided by x is x to the fourth. Copy the plus sign. 7 is copied. X to the fourth divided by x is x cubed. You have to subtract the exponent. Exponent here is 4. Exponent here is implied to be 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. Y is only copied because there is no y here. Then copy the minus sign. 8 is copied. X divided by x is cancelled out, so you don't have to write the x anymore. Then copy y to the fourth. Plus 14 is copied. X divided by x is 1, so x is cancelled out. Then copy the y. What looks to be a little bit difficult at first glance is actually very easy because there's only x as the common factor. Again, how do we interpret this? You can think of that as a rectangle, with the rectangle's area as this expression, and this one as the x, and this one as this other expression, x to the fourth plus 7x cubed y cubed minus 8y to the fourth plus 14y. Now again, getting the factor is just the reverse operation of getting the product. Because in the real world, sometimes you need to figure out what's the product, but sometimes you already know the product and you want to figure out what are its factors. And in application, you will encounter this a lot in engineering. You can encounter this a lot in other subjects because what you are learning is not just its application in particular field, but you are learning the language of algebra.